Hello, this is Ro. I want to talk to you about a key ingredient in living your life in a positive manner. And you might not think about this as a topic for that, but how about bounce? I did a speech on this recently, and actually I talked about Tigger. Have you ever thought about Tigger? You know who he is, of course. He works for Disney. He has a bounce everywhere he goes and all the time. And I got to thinking about Tigger, and I thought, he's a happy sort of guy. So why is he so happy? And I got to analyzing the concept of bounce. So I want to talk to you about bounce. And let's compare it to a bouncing ball, because that's easy for us all to picture. Actually, we are the ball, and then some of us are, as I said in my speech, some of us are rounder than others, but some of us really just roll with the punches. And then some of us, when we hit something, we stop. So let's look at it this way. Life is kind of what happens to the ball. We are the ball. And life is kind of where the ball's going. The ball kind of rolls around. It doesn't mean that we're not having difficulties or situations in life. It just means that life is happening and no big issues. But when we get to the point where the ball stops, that means we've hit something. We've hit bottom, we've hit a roadblock, and when we hit something, what happens is we typically hit hard, and it hurts. Oh, that hurts when we hit. At that point, we have a choice. Our choice is, do we stay there? And really, the choices we make, to some degree, don't really change the pain. But the choices we make change the rest of our lives. So what happens is some people hit and then they stay there. But is that what Tigger would do? Tigger doesn't stay anywhere. Tigger would bounce. He'd hit bottom and he'd bounce back. Now if you analyze a bounce, what happens when you bounce? When you bounce after you hit something, and actually to have a bounce, you need to hit something. So you might analyze it this way, to get away from the difficulty, you have to hit it. In some ways, that's a really good analogy for what happens to us in life. Some of us don't leave like a dead-end job or a situation or maybe a town that doesn't have opportunities for us. Sometimes we just don't go anywhere until we hit rock bottom or until we hit a roadblock. But if you analyze it, some people sit there. They'll hit and they don't go anywhere. They just stay. Some people, on the other hand, will hit and bounce back. Now, analyze it. What are they doing when they bounce? They're getting away from that problem. And that is what we need to do. If you think about it, the people that you enjoy being with the most are the very people that bounce. They're the people that get away from the bad. Now, I'll give you an analogy to this, or a scenario to this, that if you see someone and their identity is wrapped up in something that happened 20 years ago, and you get to meet them, get to know them, and they're like, back in 1980, such and such happened to me, and you're like, wow. They're really hanging on to that, aren't they? You know what happened? They bounced, or they hit, and they didn't bounce. They hit, and they stayed there. They hit a roadblock, they hit bottom, they hit a difficulty, and let me tell you, through life we will hit roadblocks and difficulties. And I can assure you that once you bounce once, you'll have another opportunity to do that again. It's just the way life goes. It's not a one-time thing. Life happens, And it happens, and it happens, and we get opportunities all the time to be able to bounce back, to move on. So I want you to think about that the next time you hit something, you feel, oh, that hurt. Think of it as a ball. You're the ball, and you just hit it, or whatever it was, or you hit rock bottom, or you hit a roadblock. And then you have a choice. Think about it. We all have a choice. We can stay there and let that become our identity for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, or we can move on. Because moving on is what helps us to enjoy that space between that bounce and that hit and the next one, because there will be more. But if you stay there, the difficulties, you won't have any enjoyment in between them. The difficulties will just keep tiling up, and it won't be near as much fun. So my question to you is, or my statement to you is, I'm a Tigger. Are you a Tigger too?